Lewis Charleston was walking through the forest near his house when all of this started. He and his K9 companion had walked this route several times before, but this particular hike would turn out to be quite different. The well-trained dog was usually very quiet and hardly ever did anything unexpected, but now the four-legged friend was uneasy. Lewis spread some of the branches of the bushes and immediately figured out why his dog was acting erratic. There was an animal hiding beneath the dense leaves of this bush. The animal was extremely tiny, and what Lewis noticed the most was that it was pretty much hairless all over its body. The tiny creature squealed like it desperately needed attention or food. Lewis couldn't go home and leave this helpless animal behind to suffer, so in the end he chose to bring it with him. Lewis searched for food for this weakened animal. There wasn't much, but a small bowl of milk might do the trick. Eventually he called his local vet for help and an explanation. Lewis drove to the veterinarian's office with the presumed baby rabbit in his passenger seat. Even though Lewis's conclusion that the infant was hungry was correct, other questions also arose within the doctor. The doctor injected the small animal with some much-needed fluids against dehydration and also proved a liquid form of substance. But when he did, his face seemed puzzled the entire time. I get why you think that. But I can assure you, this is definitely not a rabbit. This remark surprised Lewis, who at least thought he figured out the animal's species. What is it? Then Lewis asked. The vet explained that he had no idea what this animal was. It was unlike anything he had ever seen, which frustrated him. Lewis drove home with the animal that day and started their journey of discovery, and it would be a strange one, with many weird surprises along the way. Their mission started great though. During that time, Lewis and the veterinarian were in constant communication. The vet was looking through old files and searching online for any kind of lead to find out what this animal was, while Lewis provided a live observation. On the third night, strange things started happening. The small animal got more and more familiar with Lewis's house and was already running from side to side during the nights, but around 2 o'clock at night, the young man suddenly woke up from a loud noise that came from downstairs. When Lewis made his way over to the back door of the house, he saw that it stood wide open. The confused man knew that he had closed it before bed, just like he always did, so seeing it open like that was strange. Lewis turned his head around the corner and saw that his metal trash cans had tumbled over. But when he re-entered the living room, he saw that the little bald animal had left his sleeping quarters. The little creature looked up, still with its squinted eyelids, and just sat there. Did she do it? No, that wasn't possible. The animal was still half blind and way too small. That next night, strange things again started happening. Lewis heard loud noises coming from the downstairs area once more, and when the confused homeowner got there this time, he found his house in a complete mess. Lewis saw that there were brown coffee footprints all over his floor. Lewis was perplexed, but the footprints did match that of the animal. Lewis called the veterinarian and shared everything he had learned up until this point. He spoke of the sharp contrast between the animal's appearance and the weird chaos she was causing. During the following weeks, Lewis watched the small animal like a hawk. He woke up every night to a mess in his house, and when that happened, he documented everything. Lewis also saw that the creature grew quite well. She wasn't just a tiny thing he couldn't hold it in his hand anymore. The animal's weight and size increased at least quadrupled over a short period of time, and the baldness it had when he found her was slowly disappearing. The white fur grew darker, and it soon covered most of her body. The young man reached out to the wall mount and picked up the phone. It was the vet who was calling. It was the middle of the night, so the fact that he called now was a bit odd. The veterinarian stated that he was the one who could help on this occasion because he found out what kind of animal his bald-haired friend was. It's a Chinese naked wombat. They have a bit more hair when they are mature, but they are extremely rare in this region. But his animal hardly ever travels alone. Wombat families are tight-knit, and they always travel in packs, taking care of each other their entire lives. Lewis grinned for a moment and then took over the conversation. Lewis still had the phone on his ear, but his eyes were pointed toward the ground, where a group of 6 playful, hungry, and fully grown wombats were scattering through his living room. Lewis explained what he saw, and the description made the vet laugh a bit. It also amazed him. These animals were known to be quite cocky, and wombats were hardly ever found to be afraid of humans, but this erratic behavior was something even he did not expect. The truth behind this rampage mystery was finally revealed, combined with the identity of the bald animal he found. But it also came with a sad conclusion. It was illegal to own a wombat as a pet, and Lewis also did not want to keep his friend away from her family by keeping her. A call was made to a friend of the vet, and the next day, a trip needed to be made. They drove the furry family up to a location about 30 minutes away from his home. Once there, a woman opened the gate to a large wildlife sanctuary. "Welcome, guys," she said. Louis greeted her and introduced the wombats to their new permanent home. They seemed to adjust to the lush green environment well from the start. After about 6 months, the little bald infant had fully grown up to an adult-sized wombat. She was happy and playful and loved living in the sanctuary. Louis was happy as well.